It's hard to lose. It's hard to understand why so many of our fellow citizens, people that we have fought so long and hard for, wound up choosing the other path.
Tonight, we are hearing from Minnesota Governor Tim Walz for the first time since he and his running mate Kamala Harris lost the 2024 presidential election. The governor addressed crowds at a school in Eagan. Rob Olson was there and joins us live now with his message for Minnesotans. Rob?
Yeah, and this message was directed towards this invite-only crowd of Democratic supporters and activists, donors, elected officials. And it was fitting, perhaps, that it was in an auditorium shared by the Eagan High School and Middle School, because it was sort of a pep rally for this crowd who are still stung by what happened on Tuesday. But it was a mix of other things, too. He reflected on his time on the national campaign stage, but then pivoted back to Minnesota. Noted that 47% of Minnesotans voted for Trump Vance on Tuesday and said that cannot be ignored. But he also vowed to defend his progressive agenda in Minnesota. After 3 months on the trail, this was, in some ways, for Tim Walz, one final campaign rally.
I don't know about you, but I've had a week.
3 days after losing the very first election of his political career. After 3 months on the campaign trail, crisscrossing swing states and becoming a name known outside of Minnesota.
I ate way too much local food, but I can order donuts, people. I can order donuts.
Still taking jabs at the opponents they lost to. This was actually a thank you to Democratic volunteers and donors and campaign staffers who are all still figuring out what exactly happened on Tuesday and what happens next.
And know that whenever you're ready to get back in that fight, I'll be standing right here ready to fight the fight with you.
The words from Walz, an attempted firing up a losing side. The same message coming from his wife, Gwen, who spoke first.
So let's take everything we're feeling, our fear, our fatigue, our frustration, and let us use it as our fuel.
Walz now returns to a state capital where partisanship runs deep, in a state where his ticket did win, but not by much. Said that's a sign that finding compromise is more important than ever, while vowing to protect the ideals he feels are sacred.
I love this country. I love this state. I love this job. And I'm not done fighting for Minnesota, not by a long shot.
Yeah, and now, while he has not said he's going to run for re-election, Minnesota is one of 13 states without term limits for governors. That did sound like he was planning to do more than just what's ahead in his next 2 years of his term. But again, that remains to be seen. But again, part pep rally, part reflection, and part sort of firing up the DFL faithful to forge ahead. Live in Eagan, Rob Olson, Fox 9.